Hi Juan, there is a video in the week 2 module in my courses that shows you how to download projects and submit them and review the feedback, but maybe you didn't watch that, so maybe you don't know how to do this. So this is my demo student here. And so my demo student did their project. So if I go back to assignments and I click on the project, this is I did the 5 project. If I click here, it's going to show me, this is to resubmit it. So I don't want to resubmit it yet. I want to look at what I got. So I go to the grade book and I locate the item that I want to look at. In this case, it's the Excel project, and I click on review. Now, click here. Now, what I'm going to suggest is, instead of trying to read the feedback up here, if you go to the button where it says download, it will download the file and you can review it. So I've done that already for your 2 projects. So let's take a look at those. So let's take a look at the discrete one first. So this is your file. And if you look on the first page where it says submission markup, this summarizes your score. You've probably seen this, I assume. It'll tell you where points were deducted. So it says 27 cells, you lost 36 points here. 27 cells, comment in place, please check the sheet. So the sheet is the question sheet. So let's go back over to the question sheet. And let's go back up to the top. And you want to look at where all the answers are, all the blue boxes are where your answers went in. Okay, so here's one here. See the little red mark there? That means that that was marked wrong for some reason. And it says that in that cell, you didn't set the formula to point to cell D17. And you pointed to E51, which is way down the bottom, minus E71. I don't know. Anyway, this is not correct because they wanted you to find the relative frequency of playing 10 games. So they wanted you to just go back up here and point to the cell here, right here with the frequency for playing 10 games, which is right here. And that's where they wanted you to point right there for that cell there. You just point here in this cell to that particular cell, which happens to be D17. So if you look on here, it is D17. Okay, and then here, let's see here, you put a 5 in. That's not correct. It wanted you to point a cell to find the number of games that had the highest frequency. And so you'd want to look through here and say, okay, what was the highest frequency? Here it is here. And so they wanted you to point to this cell right here, which is B12. And you just put in a 5 there instead of putting in the pointer in the cell to locate it, to point it to cell B12. So those are 2 cells you lost points on. Go down here and you have a whole bunch of flags here. So I don't think you're understanding the formula here, because if you look at what you did, you took E49. E49 is x sub I times the probability of x sub I, instead of taking x sub I, which is in B1, or sorry, B49 over there, and subtracting the expected value. So you didn't do that, which would have been E71. So you didn't do that. That's why you got that marked wrong. And the same thing all the way down through all these cells here. So that's where your points were taken off. You also had points taken off because something was wrong with the chart. So let's go back and look at your chart here. Oops, it's up above here. And you'd have to go back in and look at the chart and look at the directions they're pointing you to there that you didn't do something. You want to take a look and see here. Let's see, it's a number of games. Here we go. So you'd have to take a look here and then look at what was marked wrong, and it'll tell you didn't lose that many points on there. 2.5 points. The style wasn't set as it was explained, and the clustered column wasn't set to this, and the data labels were not inserted. So that's where you lost points there on that particular one. Okay, and then on your other one, again, I pulled down your file, and you have 8 cells where things were deducted. So again, we're going to go to the questions page, and again, you're going to look for those cells with that little red mark to the right-hand corner. And again, and when you put your mouse over it, oops, it'll show you what was wrong. And then if you look up in the screen above, whoops, sorry. It's not going to make it. Let's go back for a second. Unfortunately, I'm changing your cells and I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, let's go to another cell. All right, let me take your file down again. Okay, don't save. All right, let's go find your cell, your file again, because I messed up when I was pulling it down. It was your continuous distribution one. Here we go. Sorry about that. Okay, let's go back over and take a look. All right, so if I click here, it says, if you look at your formula, why it's not showing your formula? Oh, I think I probably don't have it opened up too. Why it's not letting me see your formula? Should show your formulas up here. I don't know why it's not doing that. Let's click on one. There we go. There we go. If you click on the cell first, it'll show it. Okay. So for the ones that you're getting marked wrong, if you click on the cell first, it'll show the formula. And then if you put your mouse over it, if you notice your formula there, you had normal.s.distribution. That's correct. C7. You didn't put the C7 in there in the first set of parentheses. You left it just blank, comma, true. The second part was correct. And I think you probably did the same thing all the way down. Yeah. You forgot to put in, you forgot to put in the first set of parentheses, you're forgetting to put in, let's click on the cell here. Let's see what you did here. You have a whole bunch of parentheses in there. Okay, again, you're putting in numbers instead of pointing to cells, so that's why you're getting marked wrong. But again, you can click on each cell here, the formula you put in will show in the formula window up there, and then the project error will show you what the error was. You can go back and correct it before you make your second submission. And I think these were the only cells that had mistakes on this one. So this is available every single time. I mentioned this at the beginning of the course. MyStatLab does not keep your first submission, so I can't see what you did the first time. It also doesn't save the detailed feedback, so my suggestion would be after your first attempt, download the file with the feedback and save it, so that therefore when you do it again, and if you think that it's not being marked correctly, you can send me both files with the markups and I can look at them and see whether or not you would get any additional points. But I can't see the first file once you resubmit. A second file, it gets written over and the original submission with the feedback is lost. So I strongly urge you to save that first submission file with the feedback on your computer somewhere, and in the event that we need to look at it to compare it to the second feedback file. So hopefully this will help you for your next set of projects, okay?